Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting of the West Virginia Board of Education to order. If you'd please rise as we're led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Bob Dunleavy.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. We'd like to start off this morning with introductions, and I'll start with our staff. Ms. Payne.
Tina Payne, Executive Secretary to the Board.
Kelly Talbot, General Counsel.
James Paul, Jefferson County.
Scott Rotruck, Monongalia County.
Vic Gabriel, Harrison County.
Bob Dunleavy, Ohio County.
Kathy Justice, Greenbrier County.
Sarah Tucker.
Christine Berry, Kanawha
Higher
County.
Education. Oops, sorry,
Christine's
Let the record reflect that Mr. Wooten and Ms. White and Dr. Stansberry are all joining remote. Can you all three hear us?
I can.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I can.
All right, we're here in
Good
our
morning.
full complement this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, next is the approval of the agenda. Before we do that, one housekeeping change. We're going to move public presentations from its current spot in the agenda down to number 8. That'll be right before board member updates and requests for information. The reason we're doing that this morning, ladies and gentlemen, today's about the kids. We've got schools here today, and I'm not going to sit here and let everybody blow while I've got these wonderful children in my presence. We're going to let them go first. So I hope you all will indulge me with that. Given that change, is there a motion to approve the agenda? Been moved, Mr. Dunleavy.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gabriel. All in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Aye.
Next is recognitions. Ms. Blatt.
Good morning. As President Hardesty mentioned, we're excited that we have a great group here this morning in front of us and schools that we would like to recognize. We have an exemplary practice schools program, which really starts to dig into the great things that are happening in our schools. And we don't celebrate our schools and the work that our students and our teachers do enough. So today we're going to be celebrating our exemplary schools for academic achievement and our exemplary schools that have really focused in on attendance and the importance of attendance and impacting that academic achievement. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over first to Kelly Masinopoul, who's going to talk about our academic achievement schools.
Good morning, President Hardesty, Superintendent Blatt, board members, and our school delegations. My name is Kelly Masinopoul. I'm a coordinator in the Office of Academic Support, and we are really honored to be here today to recognize this year's Exemplary Practice School winners. Our Exemplary Practice School program started in 2024, so we are now in our 3rd year, and this is our 1st year that we have added attendance as another thing that we have celebrated with as a part of this program. What I did want to say about the program, we really enjoy working with this program, but beyond that, these schools support our broader community by modeling the effective implementation of improvement practices. They host school visits for us, so we are able to take other schools from around the state to these schools to learn more about the practices that these schools are putting in place, and they are wonderful presenters at our conferences. So I am proud to recognize 3 schools today for exemplary practice that have led to meaningful improvements in student achievement. So our first school that we would like to recognize is Crum PK8 from Wayne County. And if the delegation from Crum will please stand. And so we are pleased to have with us today Superintendent Alexander, Principal Nona Newsom, teachers Amanda Flutie, Genta Chung, and students Kiara Stevens and Willow Hanna. So in 2015, Crum was identified for comprehensive support and improvement. And since that time, Principal Newsom described a real collaborative shift in their building to equipping their students, regardless of their circumstances, with the skills that they need to compete academically. She and her staff have demonstrated that meaningful improvement is not only possible, but it can be achieved and sustained. So Crum PK8 was selected for its innovative approach to overcoming barriers, including flexible staffing that pairs teachers to improve student outcomes. As a result of their efforts, this school has increased math achievement by 17% over a 4-year time period. And we are now welcoming Principal Newsom and Superintendent Alexander to come forward if you'd like to say a couple words.
Wayne County is extremely proud of Crum Pre-K through 8, and in the introduction, the word collaboration was used. And we have, as a county, we've tried to set collaboration and instructional leadership as our number one priorities. And Crum is leading the way in Wayne County in those areas. And the results speak for the success of the school. We have a fabulous instructional leader in Mrs. Newsom, and we have some of the best teachers in the state of West Virginia that are in that building. I'll tell the story. There's a math teacher at the school, Tammy Gerald's, and we had arranged for a group of 6th grade students to spend a week at Heritage Farms. Audie Perry had hosted a group of 6th grade students there at Heritage Farms for a week of outdoor activities that were tied to learning. And Mr. Perry and I were on a side-by-side, riding out to, he wanted to take me out to see the students, and I entered a clearing. And when I entered the clearing, I saw the math teacher, Mrs. Gerald's, teaching math out in the middle of the woods. And I said, what is going on? And they said, well, we had a little bit of a break, and she decided to get in a math lesson. And that's the urgency that Crum Pre-K through 8 displays, so we're extremely proud of them. Mrs. Newsom is the principal who has led this effort, so Mrs. Newsom.
Good morning. We would like to thank Ms. Massanopel and all the department individuals that came out to our school for their visit. They've been so wonderful and welcoming, and we really appreciate that. Our school is just a jewel. It's a wonderful place to work. We have, as Mr. Alexander said, one of the best staffs in the state. Our students are wonderful, and they're all working hard, and we're just very proud of the things that we've accomplished, but we're not finished yet. We've got quite a bit left to do, and so we're on a mission, and I hope that you continue to see our names because we've got work to do. So thank you for this opportunity. We really appreciate it. We're very thankful to be here, and just thank you.
All right. Our next school, if the delegation from George Washington Middle School in Putnam County will please stand. So we are pleased to have with us Superintendent Hudson, Principal Denny Paul, Assistant Principal Ann Wilkinson, teachers Maureen Miller and Tiffany Fallour. Did I get it? Awesome. And students Carly Clark and Kobe Stewart. So our second exemplary practice school, George Washington Middle School, is recognized for its focus on teacher collaboration, we're going to say that word a lot, and implementation of a comprehensive literacy program that emphasizes writing across all content areas. And their presentation when we went to the school was truly outstanding, and it's exciting to see a middle school that is so focused and doing really great work. Through the work of a guiding coalition, these efforts resulted in an 18% increase in ELA proficiency, and they also had a 6% increase in students with disabilities, which was really great to see that they're growing in multiple areas. So I will now welcome Principal Paul to come forward, Superintendent Hudson, if you're here, if you've made it through the traffic, to say a couple words.
Thank you, Ms. Mason.
Superintendent Blatt, board members, we're very, very pleased to be here today. And as a superintendent, couldn't be more proud, especially when you see students and teachers here in the audience, but more proud of a school, GW Middle School, as she's indicated. Since about 22, 23, they started really looking at their ELA scores and actually using data and the collaborative process through professional learning communities, looking at data, what they could do, and utilizing the writing process, focusing on ELA across all subgroups. They have seen remarkable growth, and all you have to do is walk into the school, walk into the classrooms, and see that collaborative effort. You can feel it even from the front office with the secretaries. You know great things are happening. So we're just very appreciative and proud of GW Middle School, and we're proud of our principal leadership, Mr. Denny Paul, and his assistants here today as well.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. I really was excited to share our story with Mrs. Masinople and the team that she brought to our school. It was a great reflection for us on that. So I want to thank you guys for that opportunity to be able to share our story. And I want to thank our superintendent, Mr. Hudson, and the Board of Education for their support in what we've been doing and implementing as well. So, and I really want to thank, most importantly, our teachers and our students, and recognize them on what they do. Our students it's just a fabulous place to be. When I came to GW, I fell in love with the place, and the community is fantastic. But our students every day, they work hard to achieve excellence, and our staff, they embody our motto of all means all, which for us means that all of our students can achieve at high levels, and we practice that every day, and our teachers buy into that as well from the standpoint of it takes all of us to help our students be successful, and that's where our collaboration has really just shown so much with our professional learning communities and the things that they do every day. And with our writing process and how our ELA team really has created a springboard for us to continue to utilize across the board programs. And so we're just continuing to build on that and working together as an entire school and implementing more programs. So, job's not finished. We're going to continue to work hard for our students. So thank you again for the opportunity to be here.
Is the delegation from Guy and Dot Elementary, have they arrived? Yay! Oh, okay, I see you all now back there. Great, wonderful. There were some traffic issues this morning. So at this time, if the delegation from Guy and Dot Elementary in Cabell County will please stand. We are excited to have with us here today Superintendent Hardesty, Principal Beverly Holly, Deputy Superintendent Kelly Watts, Executive Director of Elementary Kristen Giles, teachers Carrie Rizzonico and Annie Shaver, and students Dalton Porter and Regan Savage. So Guy and Dot Elementary has implemented a walk-to intervention model that ensures all students in their building receive 30 minutes of ELA and math intervention and enrichment on a daily level or on a daily basis. And while many schools use intervention to support students academically, the strong collaboration that these teachers were able to demonstrate was really came across in our meeting at the school. They intentionally use data to guide their planning, to adjust their model. Students walk, kindergartners leave their classroom, go to other classrooms for their intervention, and it was really great model to see put into practice. This school has been able to see an increase of 17% in reading proficiency and an 11% increase in math proficiency over a 3-year time period. So I will now welcome to speak to you briefly Principal Holly and Superintendent Hardesty to share a couple words.
I was worried. It's an honor to be here this morning to recognize Guy and Dot Elementary for the accomplishments they have made. It's not often that we get the option to celebrate great things along the way. through this educational process. But Bev Holly, as the principal there, when she went there, she has a very strong curriculum background. She got buy-in from the staff and to implement a new model. And that model has, the data from that model has shown that it's a positive thing for our students, and our scores reflect that. And so Ms. Holly, I appreciate that. And the support that Ms. Giles and Ms. Watts gives her at the central office level has certainly helped. But the catalyst there is Ms. Holly and the work that she is doing within the school. And the benefit is for our students, and that's the reason we're there every day. So thank you for allowing us to be here today.
Good morning. It's an honor to represent Guyandotte Elementary and share the work that's happening in our school. The team from the State Department was just fantastic. I feel like Kelly and I are BFFs now. But our success is grounded in a simple belief: every child deserves targeted support every day. Through our walked intervention model, we use data to meet students where they are, and we adjust their instruction to ensure growth in both reading and math. This work reflects the dedication of my staff, the support of our families, and a shared commitment to student success. The county office has helped me tremendously. I was an academic coach for Kristen Giles, our executive director here, and I learned a lot from that. And I've been a principal. I was assistant principal for 2, and I've been at Guyandotte for 3 as head principal. And not to correct you, Kelly, but we made that growth in 1 year. But anyway, we are proud of this recognition, and even more proud of the growth we see in our students every day. We are a Title I school, and we're just really proud of our little Guyandotte Elementary. At Guyandotte, growth isn't optional, it's expected. Thank you.
So I'm going to turn this program over now to Stacy Losh, who is going to recognize our schools for exemplary practice in attendance.
Good morning, President Hardesty, Superintendent Blatt, board members, and our school delegations. My name is Stacy Losh, and I serve as manager in the Office of Research. Over the past 3 years, WVD has provided professional learning focused on supporting attendance through a multi-tiered support framework. The 3 schools that I'm about to introduce are strong examples of what is possible when this approach is implemented. So the first school that we will be recognizing is Huff Consolidated Elementary and Middle School in Wyoming County. If that delegation could please stand. We are pleased to have with us Superintendent John Henry, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Kara Mitchell, Director of Attendance Kim Runyon, Principal Justin Endicott, Counselor Anguna Rowe, Communities and Schools Site Coordinator Kendra Sparks, and students Brinley Gunnels and Brinley Vinson. So the first school is Huff Consolidated in Wyoming County. This school focused on reducing chronic absenteeism and increasing ELA proficiency by strengthening relationships and student belonging. Through a research-based approach in partnership with communities and schools, they improved attendance, academics, and discipline. Huff Consolidated is also a top 10 national finalist in the Samsung Solve for Tomorrow competition for a student-designed water filtration system addressing local water challenges. So please welcome Superintendent Henry and Principal Endicott to come forward and share a few words.
President Hardesty, Superintendent Blatt, board members, thank you so much for an opportunity for us to be here today and show off some great work that's going on at Huff Consolidated. It comes from strong leadership within the school, great buy-in from Mr. Endicott's crew. He does such a great job of making those voices from the community and from the students heard. It's great to see some of our students here today, especially on spring break. Thank you all for coming. From the moment you walk into Huff Consolidated, you feel the care and love that is expected from the staff there. And it just has a unique feel. And we often say at central office, if you're having a stressful day or a rough day, Huff is one of the places that you want to be. And that comes from strong leadership. It comes from high expectations. But most of all, that care and love that staff that you all provide for your students. Thank you all very much. Mr. Endicott, we're so proud of you in Wyoming County. Thank you for doing great things. and showcasing your school and your staff.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank everyone for this honor on behalf of my school. 3 years ago, our chronic absenteeism rate was close to 40%, and today it's under 18%, and we're super proud of that achievement. And that's not an accident, and that's not luck. That's due to a staff that ensures every student matters every single day. And I want you to share with you a few things that I see every morning in my hallways and in my building that makes Huff Consolidated a special place. When students arrive, they're greeted with teachers standing in the hallway, smiling at them, welcoming them, and providing every need that they have. You'll see my counselor in CIS checking on kids, knowing them by name, calling them out by name, asking anything that they need. You'll see my cooks ensuring that all students are fed and have exactly what they need to make it through each and every single day. All my paraprofessionals who know which students might have had a hard night and giving everybody a heads up to ensure that we are handling them with care. My secretary and school nurse who knows my students' families by name and knows their unique situations. Custodians who make sure that my building feels like a place that students want to be, and bus drivers that go and beyond to make sure that kids are there every single day. And kids don't just show up because of policy, they show up because of every one of these people. And at Huff, we talk about crew, and we call ourselves crew. And what crew means to us at Huff Consolidated is that nobody is left behind. Crew means that we notice when someone's missing, when someone needs something, and we go get them in every sense of the word, metaphorically and literally. CIS will go get them. Crew means that when a child walks through that door on Monday morning, that they feel seen and they feel heard. So today, this isn't an award just for me, but it's an award for everybody at Huff Consolidated, every community member, and every student. And as our mission statement says, if we dream it and we believe it, we can achieve it. So that's how we feel that we got here, and we're so thankful for this opportunity.
The second school being recognized for exemplary practice in improving attendance is Huntington High School, located in Cabell County. So at this time, if the Huntington High School delegation from Cabell County will please stand. We have Superintendent Tim Hardesty, Deputy Superintendent Kelly Watts, Director of Health, Wellness, and Student Support Keith Thomas, Executive Director of Elementary Kristen Giles, Principal Jody Cunningham, Attendance Interventionist Lori Akers, Behavior Interventionist Mary Jane Davidson, Communities and Schools Site Coordinator Josh Nelson, students Malachi Holmes and Reagan Moore. So this school, Huntington High, located in Cabell County, was previously identified for comprehensive student support related to achievement and attendance. This school implemented a multi-tiered system of support framework to address achievement, behavior, and graduation outcomes. With a focus on prevention, positive messaging, family communication, and partnerships with communities and schools, the school has reduced chronic absenteeism and shifted its culture from compliance to connection. At this time, I would like to welcome Principal Cunningham and Superintendent Hardesty, back up again, Mr. Hardesty, to come forward and share a few words.
Hello again, board members, President Hardesty, Superintendent Blatt. First, I want to thank you all for taking the time to recognize all of the schools here today. It's just a great thing to recognize the accomplishments throughout our state and the exemplary practice that are put in place to benefit our students. And especially Huntington High School, 12% increase in a decrease in chronic absenteeism in a school with 1,600 students. That is a real number. Those are students that are attached to each one of those percentage points, and it makes a real difference in the lives of those kids as they go through the high school. I'd like to thank Mr. Cunningham and the entire staff there for the work that they do for our students, and Mr. Thomas and his team that supports that work. And they have changed the culture in Huntington High School through their attendance practices. It's no longer just something that they have to come to school for a compliance piece, but we have pride throughout the halls of Huntington High School now. And it's great to see, and it's a great environment for our staff and students. Thank you.
Mr. Hardesty, Ms. Blatt, board members, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Huntington High School is it's a fantastic place. It's my family. It's my friends. I have been there in some capacity since 2011. I've been associate principal now for the second time. And when I had the opportunity to go back 4 years ago as head principal, I had a little bit of an idea of the ABCs, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about today before I start. I had a laser-focused idea of attendance, behavior, and course completion, or grades. But, you know, in high school, we go by course completions. And the first word of ABCs is attendance. And that's what we're being recognized for today is attendance. And every day, if we can get the students in school, that's the most important part of the ABCs, because then, of course, they're going to have the opportunity to learn. Then we can work on their behavior and getting them to, of course, pass their grades. And then, of course, the next letter in ABC is D, and of course, that's going to equal a diploma. And so our goal at Huntington High School is to march students across the graduation stage and then lead them on to something next in their lives. And so our goal is first is attendance. And if we can get them at school and to reduce their chronic absenteeism, we do that. And I wanted to surround myself with amazing people. Some of those people are in this room today, and there's a lot of them at Huntington High School. I have been blessed and given an opportunity from people at our central office and others to surround myself with a lot of employees, because I can't do it myself. I'm just an average Joe. So when I built my bus, I built myself an attendance specialist and a behavior specialist, and we put people on the bus that was going to help out the students of Huntington High School. And that was going to help out at everyday things that our students needed. And part of that was attendance. And we had to make a big effort in concentration. Some of those things you heard Ms. Losh, and I'm glad that she had the opportunity to come down and visit us a couple of times. And you're going to hear, I'm going to have my attendance interventionist speak and talk a little bit. And we're not going to spend a lot of time up here, but she's going to spend a few seconds talking about some of the data and some of the activities we did. I want to thank you guys, and I want to thank the opportunity of our central office to give us this to bring down our attendance concerns at Huntington High School. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Lori Akers. I'm the attendance interventionist at Huntington High School. Being an attendance interventionist for the past 3 years is fun. Number one, it's because we have a great team, our community and school coordinator, behavior interventionist, our students, number one, the star of the show. As of this morning, our chronic absenteeism is down to 31%. So we are at a 17% reduction this morning, and that is 1% to get into the yellow, as my goal is to open up Zoom WV and see a yellow. Beautiful yellow squares. We focus on the whole child at Huntington High. There's a reason, and it's not just because they don't want to come to school. There's a reason they're not getting to school. And we focus on that whole child. We work with our community stakeholders. We find those resources in our community to break down those barriers between home and school for our students at Huntington High. And a lot of our students do have some significant barriers to get to school. And that's what we're here for. And that is why we have changed the culture at Huntington High to make it actually not only just fun to be at school, but to meet the needs those students need before they can come and learn and be successful in class. And some of the fun things in those tiered interventions that we use, that's currently going on right now, we have our grade level attendance challenge, and we pit each grade against each other for the next 4 weeks to raise that kind of time when students aren't as interested in being in school. At the end of the year, it's hard to keep everybody focused. And at the end of the year, we have a big event for just the one grade level that wins, and it's according to their attendance percentage. And we had a great competition last year. It includes a lot of fun, We even have an inflatable mechanical bull. And so everybody's in deep competition. But the star of our show is, of course, the students. And Malachi is going to tell you a little bit more about the fun and activities that we do at Huntington High.
Hi, everybody. I would like to expand on some of the things she said about the activities that they always have going on at Huntington High. I feel like a lot of the time, students, you go to school every day and it kind of just becomes like just something you have to do and you just want to get through it. But I feel like at Huntington High, they do a really good job at making you want to show up. Like there's just a bunch of things every day, and I feel like the constant new activities we do and just things they do to keep you coming back, I feel like it helps obviously with attendance, and also just the staff. I mean, I feel like they're there for you, and Huntington High, it feels like a friend that's always going to have your back. At the end of the day, it's up to the students to show up, but no matter what, they're going to be there for you when you need them. And yeah, I think that's pretty good.
JN Elementary in Marion County is the final school being recognized for exemplary practice in improving attendance. If the delegation from the school and the county will please stand. We are pleased to have with us Superintendent Donna Heston, Attendance Director Tricia Maxwell, Principal Christy Moore, Teacher and Faculty Senate President Stephanie Blickenstaff, and students Ella and Jude Moore. JN Elementary School in Marion County is the final school being recognized for improving attendance. This school focused on reducing chronic absenteeism by strengthening school culture and family relationships. Through improved communication, student leadership opportunities, and project-based learning that connects attendance to meaningful classroom experiences, JN strengthened engagement, deepened relationships with families, and improved attendance. At this time, we're going to welcome Superintendent Heston and Principal Moore to come forward to share a few words.
We're going to do a light show for you.
Good morning. Thank you for another opportunity for Marion County Schools to come and celebrate one of our schools again. And before you, I am very excited. JN is an example, it's a pure testament of a Title I school that works together with families. The staff works together. It is a Title I school. Attendance at it is phenomenal. Student achievement the growth is phenomenal, and that is a testament to the great work they do. So I do want to turn my time over to Trish Maxwell, because in Marion County Schools, she has spent the last year or two changing the connotation and our focus away from truancy and praising attendance. And so what you have here is an opportunity that you are recognizing a school that is celebrating the high expectations they have for students, as well as the high expectations that Ms. Maxwell has for our district. And we're not focusing as much on the truancy, the negative, but we're raising our schools up and celebrating student attendance, which is what we have really focused on. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Maxwell.
Thank you for having us here today and helping us celebrate JN Elementary for their accomplishments. JN Elementary, a 2023 Blue Ribbon recognized school, has continued their efforts to cultivate a true culture of attendance through their multi-tiered system of support. If I were to be asked of all of our schools in Marion County what really stands out about JN and what makes their students want to be at school, I would say it truly is their culture and their nature there of just students want to be there. It's a sense of family, a sense of belonging. I've even heard stories from parents that say, my kids actually argue with me. If I'm allowing them to stay home for whatever reason, they actually argue and debate with the parents on why they should be there. They don't want to miss out on something that's going on at the school. So they've really done a great job of creating that culture of family and belonging and the culture of attendance. JN Elementary has decreased their chronic absenteeism rate from school year 24 to school year 25 by over 6%, 6.5% actually, coming down from 20.5% all the way to 14%. And I'm not going to take up any more time from them as they're going to speak to some of the things that they're actually doing there at the school. Thank you.
Good morning. JN Elementary would like to thank Stacy Losh and her team and the West Virginia Department of Education for the distinction of exemplary school. And we would like to thank the West Virginia Board of Education for having us today. Showcasing our outstanding public schools is more important now than ever, so we are truly honored to represent Marion County, represent the wonderful schools of West Virginia today. It has been an honor for me to serve my community, my students, my school, but especially working alongside an incredible staff every single day. So I wanted to turn my time over to our second grade teacher, Mrs. Blickenstaff. This is really our staff's award.
Good morning. I feel like this student. I'm kind of nervous and what. However, my name's Stephanie Schlosky Blickenstaff. It is an honor to be here in my 32nd year of teaching public schools in our great state of West Virginia. Thank you for allowing me to accept this honor for our students, our faculty, and our families. You know, attendance might seem like a simple statistic, but it reflects something much deeper: our culture, our relationships, and our engagement. And truly at JN, we have it figured out. It's like the old adage, like your mom used to teach you: treat people the way they want treated, the way you want treated. Treat people that way. Let them know that they matter. And we do exactly that. When students enter the building, you know, we also have issues, problems, whatever it may be, all the way from the cooks to the janitors to the nurse, whatever it might be. However, you always see a smile on that staff member's face. It matters. 100% matters. They know that. They know it matters. Just like, for example, it starts from all the way from the principal herself, how she treats us, the staff, how we're heard, we're listened to, we're cared for. That just trickles down. It's like the domino effect, where it actually goes from the principal to the teachers to then to my students. Guess what? If I'm getting that respect, I'm giving that same respect back to them. And then guess what? That goes back to little Johnny going back home and saying, "Hi, Mom, I can't wait to go to school tomorrow." Or, "Please, wake up. I can't miss today's event." So many things. It's funny, I'm sorry, I'm going to go off tangent here, but my daughter actually works here in the state tourism department. So I came last night to have dinner with her, and she's like, "Mom, so what are you going to say?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I'll write it when I get, when we get home from eating." And I go to sit down and I thought, I'm writing and I'm writing and I'm thinking, I can't put everything to paper. Can't put it all to paper. And some things I don't even think of as a big deal, but they so are. So I got rid of all that and I thought, you know what? What is it? It's truly respect. It's how you treat them, how every single one of them matter. So many things that we do in our school. For example, we did something with the Olympics. Every single class, we're pre-K to fourth grade, and every classroom was a different country. Well, we started off with, just like the Olympics, we marched to the theme song. Every kid, we had a torch, we had a banner, we had everything where we were all there. We had outside activities. You know, they learned from country to country and had passports. No child wanted to miss that entire 3 weeks. None of them. I had parents dojo me, which is another great thing. And I'm almost positive through our county, we are the only school in our county that uses a dojo communication app with parents where, guess what? Sometimes parents don't want to receive that phone call home or see that number and don't answer it. But by goodness, they'll pick up that text, that dojo communication where I say, hey, is little Johnny okay today? He's not here, we miss him. Or where's, what's going on? How can I help? It's instantaneously. That parent's the same parent's like, hey, we'll be there at 11 o'clock. We surely can't miss Poland going down the hallway to, passport to the other country. So many kids are excited to be a part of our school, but not just kids, our staff. Do you know, you could walk through our school, we hardly have substitutes in our building. Hold on, let me say that again. We hardly have any substitutes in our building. You know why? Because we want to be there. When you want to be there, they want to be there. When they want to be there, their parents want them there. We understand it starts with us. Pre-K. I'm not saying we could solve problems, but I'm telling you this, it starts with those little kids. I could tell you in high school, the kids that are truant problems were the same truant problems before in kindergarten, just like all of you shaking your heads, you know. But if we stop it there, are we going to be able to stop everything? No, but we sure are trying with all the activities that we have so that kids want to be there. Want to be there, just like the staff. Those are just a small few things. I have so many that I could say, and I truly get emotional about it. As I said, I'm a 32-year veteran teacher, and I still want to be there every day. That matters. That matters. Our presence matters. Our relationships matter. When every student staff knows that they matter, they show up. They engage. They thrive. And they become exemplary, just like we have. And we're not finished. And neither is West Virginia, I believe.
At this time, we're going to do the banner presentation and pictures with the board. So we'll have each school come up and we'll call you. We'll figure out a system. Kelly
While they're
sure
doing
has a
that, is
master.
there any comments from any of the board members?
I heard, Mr. President.
Mr. Gabriel.
I heard over and over how you thanked everybody, thanked. Everybody got up there thanked. We as a board need to thank you all for what you're doing out there. I mean, you just make me feel good all over. Really, truthfully. I see the excitement, I see the changes, and, thank you all. Bottom of my heart, thank you.
Dr. Paul.
So I want to congratulate all the schools and representatives that are here today. Some terrific outcomes, and really appreciate hearing from you for being here today. I wanted to actually possibly correct some of the statistics that we have on Crum and Guy and Dot. If I'm reading Zoom correctly, Zoom West Virginia, which I could not be, I'm the new person here, but I actually think the proficiency in math in particular is a lot better than some of the numbers in this packet. I mean, I'm looking at Crum right now, and I'm seeing 15% proficient in math in 2021, up to 51 in 2025. And I'm looking at Guy and Dot, and I see 17% proficiency in math in 2018, up to 45 in 2025. So, I mean, we at the Department of Ed need to be, and it sounds like this is happening, but we need to be studying what are the interventions that are happening here. The people that are before the board today, I think, need to be in front of other counties, other schools, and perhaps they are, and we can talk about that. But I really wanted to emphasize that, and I'd like to dig in deeper, perhaps not today, but I mean, if we can identify exactly what is driving these outcomes, and I'm focused on the academic achievement, but also the attendance too. That's something we need to understand and see if it can translate. Not everything has is transferable in one county or one school to somewhere else, but these types of results in a short period of time are exactly the type of thing that we should be highlighting and that other schools should be learning from. And I have a whole lot more questions and things to say, but I wanted to make sure that we acknowledge that, and that if I'm indeed right about these outcomes, that the schools are properly acknowledged for doing even better than we've described them. So thank you very much all for being here.
Ms. Justice.
Well, I heard something today that made me really proud. Communities in schools. You all are doing so wonderful. The program is wonderful. People that haven't been exposed to it don't know what they're missing. I mean, it's just you just put a smile on my face, because I know the site coordinators do such a terrific job. And if you have a site coordinator in your school, they know the children's names, they know everything about them, they know their needs. They're just special. It just makes such a difference. And I just want you to know how proud I am of you, how we hear about this all the time. We just want it to be in every school. I want every child in West Virginia, we want you to hang your head high. Know that you can achieve everything that you want to do, and we're there to help you. So please remember that, and thank you all so much for all you do.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a reason we changed our agenda around today, because we wanted to give these children, these staffs, these administrators the credit and the accolades that they truly deserve. I keep hearing one reoccurring theme here this morning, and all this is done to improve student outcomes. That's why we do this. We spent about 60 days across the way, and to be honest with you, this job sitting where I sit has not been much fun lately. Not been a lot of fun. But I am reassured and re-energized today. I'm here for the right reason, because I see these children here today and the positive things that they're doing in their respective counties. I'm probably the only person on this board that knows where Steptown is. A much younger version of me went over into Fort Gay and Crum and played a lot of softball games over at Steptown. The work they're doing at that school at Crum is phenomenal. I also look at Huff Consolidated. I've got my brother sitting in the back of the room. I want to comment about him here momentarily, but our family, my grandmother's from the metropolis called Cyclone. Anybody that goes to Huff Consolidated, I think you're pretty close to Cyclone, West Virginia. There's good things going on in Wyoming County. There's good things going on in Wayne County. In our other counties across the state, and Dr. Paul's spot on here, we need to do a better job of exposing and telling people about the good things going on in our schools. What Malachi said, he wants to be at Huntington High School. They got you back. We need to tell other people that they have your back. We got to do a better job of getting our message out. We spend far too much time letting other people dictate and get the message out about us, and a lot of times it's a false narrative. There are good things going on in our public school system. And at the end of the day, every county that spoke, whether it be John, Todd, Tim, Donna, we're doing this because we want to improve student outcomes. That's why we're here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna digress for a moment. My brother is a superintendent of Cabell County Schools, my little brother. He was up here 2 times. He's retiring at the end of June. Tim, I want to thank you what you did in Cabell County Schools. You inherited a mess. I'm pretty factual. And we had a lot of conversations about how we're going to fix that mess. And if you'll remember, the first thing I told you is we got to go re-engage the community. And you did that along with your board, your staff, and that whole school system. I appreciate the work you've done. I think Cabell County's got a great loss, but I think Keith is more than able to take the reins and run with it. Good things are going on in Cabell County schools. Tim, I wish you'd reconsider staying in public education, but I don't know. You do what the Lord leads you to do, and you can't go wrong. I can promise you that. I'll shut up now, and it's time for us to take some pictures. Thank you.
Can I say something real quick? President Hardesty said that his mother and father were from Cyclone. Well, Governor Justice, his mother and father were from Cyclone. So, you know, it's just a small world. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, whether you're from West Virginia, whether you're from Texas or whatever. Children have the opportunity to do anything they want. And don't sell yourself short. Go for the moon. Do anything you want to do because you can do it. So always remember that. You have people that are going to help you.
First, we'll put the board members in place, and then we'll call the schools up one at a time. Perfect. In order of our banners. Okay.
Yeah, so popular.
She's signing you up. Already got it. You got a recruit.
If we could have the delegation from Crum.
Yeah, we'll get them, let's get them.
I'm gonna put the two of you all in charge of the banner, okay?
Perfect. They're the ones who did the hard work.
If the delegation from Guyandotte Elementary can come forward.
Huff Consolidated, JN Elementary,
And now George Washington Middle School.
Hello, hello. Once your delegation has taken the picture, you're free to exit the meeting. Thank you.
Next on our agenda is a school safety update. Mr. Whitlow.
Morning, President Hardesty, Superintendent Blatt, members of the board. Just a couple things this morning. School safety unit reported 61 reports through phone calls and the CSEND app. And obviously, as always, those are handled through, standard protocols and represent quite a broad range of threats and concerns. The other thing is, a couple weeks ago, I participated in a panel discussion at the West Virginia Design and Construction Expo, and it was on crime prevention through environmental design, which they abbreviate to SEPTED. And that is important because that's actually in state board policy as part of school facility design procedures. To kind of cover quickly what that is, it's 4 components that are basically built on natural surveillance, meaning visibility is key for crime prevention. Seeing who's approaching the school and who's around the school, and then also eliminating areas of concealment where people can't hide. Second is territorial reinforcement, meaning you design the site where you know you're entering a school property. So you can't say, I didn't know I was on the property, and you know who's in the area that they're supposed to be. Natural access control, that's guiding people to be where they need to be and where their access to the building can be managed and controlled. You think about a school, at one point you have hundreds of kids pouring into a building, so you manage that, and then at another point you have a parent picking up a single kid, and then at another point you may have an unauthorized visitor. So you manage all those through access control. And then the fourth might be my favorite, and that's just maintenance. We know if a property is actively cared for and taken care of, it sends a message to the visitors that the people are watching and care about the people in the building. These principles really, I thought, aligned well with the needs of students in general. If you think about it, a student's need to know they're being seen, know that they're in a place that is cared about, it supports their safety. Because we know, safety is important for just students and learning, because a student, if they don't feel safe, can't learn. So that's the safety update, if anybody has any questions.
Questions of Mr. Whitlow? Dr. Paul.
Mr. Whitlow, thank you for being here this morning. This is a question that just came to my mind, so you can follow up later if needed. But I understand that under ESEA, federal law, all states are required to identify public schools that are persistently dangerous. And I was curious just to learn more about what that definition looks like here in West Virginia and what schools are meeting that criteria. So that's something you can please follow up on next time or in the near future.
Okay. Further questions? Hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Whitlow. Next, Department of Education report, Superintendent Blatt.
Yes, I just have a couple of things to share because I knew we were going to have our great celebrations of our schools today. But one of the things I want to highlight to everyone is our Grow Your Own Teacher program and the expansion of that work. We have 208 graduating seniors this year in our Grow Your Own Teacher program. And so each of them will receive the stole that they're able to wear on their graduation gown, a future teacher sticker, and then all of our Milken winners, we just celebrated that last month, from around the state have written letters to them to encourage them in their journey. And so all of these things will be provided to each of our graduating seniors. And we are now at over 400 students that are in these Grow Your Own pathways across the state. So we are slowly growing our capacity as we know that we need more teachers in West Virginia. I also provided to the board, we have copies of the final budget report, and then thanks to Drew McClanahan and Tina Payne, we have our Green Book, which goes over all of the bills that were passed during this past legislative session. It is smaller than normal, which is a really good thing, less to add to the book. So if the board has any questions, once they've had time to review those or anything, then I'd be happy to answer them and connect them with either Phil Uwe with our budget office or with Drew on the legislative items.
Any questions of Superintendent Blatt? Thank you very much. Next, the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Been moved by Mr. Dunleavy.
Second.
Second, Mr. Rotruck. Is there discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is new business, and we're going to shuffle the deck a little bit here. We have a guest with us today. I would like to welcome at this time the new president of Western University. President Benson, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. And that's thanks to the hard work of a lot of people in advocating for education, whether it's public or higher. I'm joined by two of my colleagues today, Aaron Newmeyer, who works in my office, does a little bit of everything, and you all know Travis Mollahan, who spends a lot of time on the Hill during the session. We drove down this morning from Mon County, and after I'm done here, we're done here, I'll hit 2 more counties. So today I want to give you a little kind of summary, if you will, of what I've learned traveling through 42 of now 55 counties, and we'll get to the rest by the end of May. I want to start too also by just reaffirming something that kind of probably goes without saying. That is, WVU belongs to the people of the state. It is the state's university. We're the only R1 land grant flagship university in the state. And as such, that's a great responsibility. We take that responsibility seriously. And as you probably know, we educate a lot of teachers in the state of West Virginia. In fact, we're the largest educator of teachers in the state. Right now, we have 158 WVU candidates who are completing residency or student teaching requirements across a variety of subjects in 14 West Virginia county school systems, along with school districts in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Maryland. Commencement will be on May the 15th through the 17th, and I love commencement. It's the high water mark every single semester because every single student that walks across that stage is a story. You know, a story of struggle and sweat equity and accomplishment, and it's such an honor to shake their hand and hand them their diploma because that's, for many of them, is the singular accomplishment in their life up to that point. I know I apologize for all the pictures of me, but they're more important. It's the pictures of where we've been. And everywhere I've gone, I've come to realize that every county, every community has its own kind of feel. Its history, its culture and traditions. And in the aggregate, they add up to just a wonderful history. And I want to talk a bit about the Golden Horseshoe. And Madam Superintendent, you and I have talked about this. I hope I can sit for the exam and see how I do. Everywhere I go, I ask how many of you have passed the Golden Horseshoe and are members of that society, and I always enjoy seeing how proud people are of West Virginia history. It is a really unique history, and this is now my 5th presidency in 4 different states, and I've never been to a place like West Virginia. John Steinbeck said this: "We do not take a trip takes us," and that's how we feel about our county tour so far. After today, as I mentioned, we will have been to 42, 55 counties. We started in the northern panhandle and just have made our way throughout. Travis has a very detailed algorithm of what counts as a stop. So you see this list and you can see that we still have to go to Marion and Mon County. I've been to both many, many times. But we either meet the the superintendent of schools or teachers or the city council, the mayor, the county commission. But you can see how many stops we've made and how many miles we've traveled. WVU Medicine, as you know, we just picked up 5 more hospitals in the state of Pennsylvania, but we have 23 hospitals right in the state of West Virginia. 2 in Ohio, and soon to be 5 more in Pennsylvania. That'll make 6. The historic sites for me as a historian have been particularly meaningful, and you can see how many students in West Virginians I've met. This was recently, we went down to Marion County and visited the counselors in the local high schools on National Counselor Appreciation Week. And I would argue that these are some of the most important people we have in our schools. They are the ones that really can put their finger on the scale and influence those students at a really key moment, an inflection in their lives, and direct them to the program that's best for them. I have to tell you, as I talk to high school juniors and seniors everywhere I go, I tell them, whatever you do beyond high school, make sure it's something. A trade, a 2-year degree, a diploma, a certificate. If you aren't quite ready academically, you kind of need to get your sea legs under you, try our campus out in Kaiser. Or if you want to focus on technology or engineering, consider Beckley. Or if you want to come to what Bleacher Report calls one of the top 15 college towns in America, come to Morgantown. But there are points of entry for students anywhere in the state if they so desire. So that's a message that we try and reinforce. As you know, the university also has a very robust 4-H commitment. I have the pleasure and honor of serving on the 4-H National Council Board. I was in Washington, D.C. just 2 weeks ago for their national meetings and the Aspire. And to see these kids that, for many of them, they join as 8, 9, 10-year-olds. And that becomes their family. And they learn life skills. They go to camp. They learn how to apply what they learn in their everyday lives. And that picture there is a camp that we took this last summer. This has been a highlight. Superintendent Blatt, I had a chance to go to Mountaineer Middle School. Now, if you go to Mountaineer Middle School in Morgantown, etched on the front of the facade, it says University Demonstration School. And my children in Kentucky went to a laboratory school based on the John Dewey model established in the 1890s at the University of Chicago. That is the same principle of the demonstration school, which for years served as, in effect, kind of a teaching hospital where students would be trained in an education program and then go up to the school and apply what they had learned. I had a chance to talk to these 8th graders, all of whom are preparing for the Golden Horseshoe. The Civil War is kind of one of my history hobbies, so I talked about Civil War facts you may not know, interesting kind of nuances of Civil War history. And after I had a chance to sit down with some and get quizzed, and they are a lot smarter than I am, but it really kind of inspired me even more to bone up for the exam. This is Eddie Campbell, the superintendent in Mon County. We have a terrific relationship with our superintendent and all the schools that surround our campus, but the same goes for the other counties where our campuses are located. You can see, and I want to share this with you because this came out just a few weeks ago, a firm out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania called Tripp Umbach. We asked for them to give us contemporary data on the impact that the university has on local economies. You can see whether it's in Morgantown, our campus in Beckley and Kaiser, our health sciences. By the way, the university is one of 11 universities in the country that offers 5 different schools related to health sciences. We have a school of public health, of nursing, pharmacy, medicine, and dental. There are not too many in the country that have that breadth of health sciences, and you can see the economic impact that we have just in that area. Research, we're going to find out in just a few weeks. We are one of how many finalists? 15 for a $160 million Engines grant. And we are the lead investigator, as they call it, the principal investigator on this grant. The 2 co-PIs are Carnegie Mellon and the University of Pittsburgh. And if we secure this, we're successful, that will change our research trajectory profoundly. And that's important for us as we continue to carve out a unique niche for the university in our state. This is just some more data points about if you combine us with WU Medicine, and as I mentioned, soon to be 31 hospitals, you can see the economic impact of $14.3 billion annually on our state economy. So yes, we pay a lot of payroll taxes, we employ a lot of people, but think of the quality of life improvement that happens throughout our state because of the reach of the university and, of course, of WU Medicine. Anthony Bourdain died tragically several years ago, but I came across this quote after he came to West Virginia. This place moves me very few other places, and I have been everywhere. Of course, he had been everywhere, but he was so taken by his time in West Virginia, and I have been as well. I want to conclude by telling you something that we want to see if we can implement at WVU that we did at Coastal Carolina. That's where I came from. I owe all the credit to my wife. As I mentioned, I have 5 children. When our youngest was at Myrtle Beach Middle School, his principal was Janice Christie. And Janice Christie's husband is Tim Christie. That's a name that many of you probably recognize. I met 2 of his friends out in the hallway just a second ago. But she went to a school improvement council meeting, and they said, well, it's time for our field trip. Should we go to Ripley's Believe It or Not? They've been there before. Should we take it to the beach? Should we go to Brook Green Gardens? And Debbie spoke up and she said, there are a lot of 8th graders that have never been on a college campus. And they probably go home and have dinner, and they don't talk about college as an opportunity around the family dinner table. So she put together with a committee what we called the Teal Tech Experience. So we were co-located with the technical college across the street in Conway, South Carolina. And we got as many school buses as the district would give us to bring 8th graders to both campuses. And they self-selected before they came. Are you interested? Do you want to be a chef? Do you want to be a nurse? Do you want to be a lineman? Do you want to go into English or psychology or pre-medicine? These 8th graders spend a day with us. This was the welcome assembly. They then divided into groups. We had our own Coastal Carolina students that served as their kind of mentors and tour guides for the day. They got to attend classes. This is a math class by one of our professors there. You may guess what the highlight of the day was, though, when we told them they could go to the dining hall and eat all they wanted. There was a line out the door for the soft serve ice cream machine. And then to top it all off, we took them to our football stadium, which if you've watched Coastal Carolina football play, they're not nearly as good as West Virginia. And we opened the season with them on September the 5th in Morgantown, and I hope we beat the brakes off of them. But we took them to the football stadium, and the cheerleaders were there. We turned on the fog machine, and the students got to run out to the field. And they then had their pictures made with different teams. We had the band playing. This is the golf team with some of my son's friends. And I share that with you because at the end we took an aerial photo and we made copies of that photo, and at 8th grade graduation we gave a photo of that day to every single student. The feedback we got was unbelievable. This is a counselor at Myrtle Beach High School whose son went. I won't take the time to read it, but she wrote us a note and she said, you know, up until that point, my son never talked about college. He wanted to go pro in sports or go into law enforcement. But he came home that night and said, Mom, I have a new goal. I want to go to college. I tell you this because we want to do the same thing at WU. It will look different. I'm sure it will feel different. But the mission is the same. To introduce the opportunity of post-secondary chances to not 10th graders or 11th graders, because by then it's too late. To get to them when they're in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And this was a program that really moved the needle. It really made a difference, and I'm happy to say it continues after we left. So that's what's going on at the university. As you know, you see this Let's Go flag. I joked that I came from Horry County, which is West Virginia's 56th county there in Myrtle Beach. And you see a lot of bumper stickers and West Virginia license plates there. And we're so honored to be here as part of your wonderful state. And I'm happy to take any questions, Mr. President.
Questions of President Benson. Dr. Paul. Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Justice.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
President Benson, we appreciate you taking your time to come down here this morning. A lot of exciting things going on in Morgantown. I would be remiss if I did not mention one of the staff members you have here with you today. I've had the pleasure of working with Travis 20-some odd years ago. We both worked for Joe Manchin. And if anybody knows Joe Manchin, you can imagine him screaming to the top of his lungs, Travis, Travis, Travis. We heard that on a daily basis, hourly basis. and also a minute-by-minute basis. But Travis Mollahan is a fine young man, and you've got someone that is totally dedicated to this university. I've not had the pleasure of meeting your other assistant, but I'm sure she is as well. WVU is a special place. I think back to the guy that was my mentor growing up, Willie Akers. Willie and Jerry were the two icons at the university for a number of years. Willie's getting feeble, but everyone in Logan County knows the Mountaineers, loves the Mountaineers, and this tour you're doing, going to all 55 counties, is a wise move on your part, because we have, all of West Virginia is not the same. We have different needs. We have different economic conditions that vary greatly from region to region, but it's a good thing what you're doing, and we welcome you, and you're always welcome here at this board, and please come back and join us.
Well, thank you. If I can, if I may just say a word about Travis. This was his idea. He's put together the itinerary. We take oftentimes different staff with us, and we were in Greenbrier County for his birthday just a few days ago, and it was at the conclusion of the session. And I said, I've worked in public higher education now for 30 plus years. I have never seen anyone so adroitly and adeptly navigate the issues that we face, that all of us face in higher education. Sarah did a terrific job. We were so well served at the university by Travis and his team, and you're exactly right, Mr. President. Really grateful to work with such wonderful colleagues, and honored to be here, so thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next under new business is our Common Ground Partnership. Superintendent Blatt.
Yes, we have some exciting news today. I will turn it over to Robert Mellis to let him share that with us.
Good morning, President Hardesty, honorable members of the stakeholders education.
I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart that every April you still ask me to come here and present on the Common Ground Partnership, and recognizing April as the month of the military child, otherwise known as Purple Up Month. This board deserves great credit for empowering 24 stakeholder organizations to open their lines of communication, resulting in a positive impact within the lives of students and military families across the state. West Virginia has a strong record of citizens volunteering to enlist in a military service at a higher rate than most other states across the nation. This year, Purple Up Day is recognized on April 23rd in West Virginia, when we celebrate the resiliency military-connected students display when a loved one is deployed, and how we choose to walk with them through this challenging time. This partnership contributes to our country's military readiness, and veterans are finding our state to be one of the most military-friendly places in the entire nation to serve, raise a family, and retire. The partnership also raises awareness among educators about how they can best team up with partners to enhance instruction, get kids excited about learning, and help them become the type of leaders we need for our state to experience economic prosperity, innovation, civic strength, and comforting security. To provide you with updates on a few of the activities described in your partnership summary document that's found in your folders, last year, 49 West Virginia schools participated in Military Signing Week and related events, resulting in 288 students being recognized for their commitment to seek enlistment in the United States Armed Forces. This year, Military Signing Week is on April 20th through the 24th, and already we have 44 schools registered to participate in the celebrations with a few weeks to go. The activity is rapidly gaining popularity as an effective way of introducing students to many of the available career paths in the military, and understanding the importance of public service in our society. A complete list of the locally planned events can be found on the Common Ground Partnership's website. And I know that many of these schools would be excited to have state board members and other leaders in education in attendance, and from the military. In fact, we've put together a Military Signing Week celebration video for schools to use at the events, with many significant leaders from education and the military welcoming the next generation of public servants into the United States Armed Forces. When it comes to recognizing those who've served in the armed forces as a great audience for teacher recruitment, the West Virginia Veterans to Teachers program was launched last year and has become an integral part of the partnership's communications. The program offers a unique pathway for qualifying veterans to use their honorable service as part of the criteria for acquiring a professional teaching certificate. And as you know, this year's Teacher of the Year is Tiffany Stephen, a two-time Iraq War veteran and a former member of the United States Army. Tiffany is an outstanding special education teacher in Ohio County schools, and we could certainly use a lot more like her joining the profession of teaching. When it comes to the Purple Star Award, in roughly 5 years since the award was announced, the number of Purple Star schools has climbed annually to reach a grand total of 315 schools in 17 districts. Each of these schools has a trained military family point of contact, links to helpful resources on our website, participates in at least 2 military support activities annually, and celebrates Purple Up Day in April to highlight the strength and resiliency military children display whenever they experience a loved one's deployment. In the Purple Star Award summary document that's in your folders, you can gain a clearer picture of the difference the award is making across all programmatic levels by reviewing pictures and stories about several exemplary Purple Star schools. Additionally, you'll notice that in a study of first and second class award recipients, it revealed that 97% of those surveyed felt that the award's requirements were appropriate with an acceptable degree of effort to receive the recognition. You can also see that from the 26% of respondents that had a child experience a deployment within their school, 96 felt that the professional development and resources we offered on the Common Ground Partnership's website were adequate and beneficial to them in supporting their child and their family's well-being. It's becoming crystal clear that the award this board helped to set into motion is creating powerful trends among elementary, middle, and high schools across the state for the elevated care of and compassion for military families who are admirably sacrificing valuable time with their loved ones as they bravely defend us. In that spirit, I've invited Mr. Nicholas Lambruno, our state's commissioner for the Military Interstate Children's Compact Commission, the director of Mountaineer Challenge Academies, and a retired Command Sergeant Major of the West Virginia Army National Guard, to share just a few words about the impact your focus on military children's having on military families and MIC3. So, Mr. Lambruno.
Good morning, President Hardesty, members of the State Board of Education, Superintendent Black, and Chancellor Tucker. So my name is Nick Lambruno. Like I said, Robert said, I'm a retired Sergeant Major. Also work for the Mountaineer Challenge Academy at North South, and we also have Job Challenge. So this program is very near and dear to me. You know, me moving around several times and moving my family, my children. You know, transition from active duty school to other schools, and that's what the MIC3, or the Military Interstate for Children's Compact Commission, is. So our mission, the mission is educational transition of school-age military and uniform-connected students attending public schools to include Department of Defense education activity schools worldwide and promulgate and enforce the compact rules. So what is the actual interstate compact? It's a compact is an agreement among states, a contract, to abide by a specific set of administrative rules regarding specific concerns or issues. In this instance, the interstate transfer of military school-aged youth attending public and Department of Defense schools worldwide. The administrative mechanism allows interstate collaboration to resolve complex challenges while retaining state sovereignty. The Interstate Commission is a quasi-governmental regulatory body whose governance is led by member states, administrative independent federal intervention. So, with all that said, it's pretty simple what we do, but what do we do? So the compact provides for a detailed governance structure at both the state and the national levels with built-in enforcement and compliance mechanisms. The goal of the compact is to replace the widely varying policies affecting traditional military students. The compact leverages consistency. It uses a comprehensive approach that provides a consistency policy for areas of specific in the compact in every school district and member state. So who is covered? So they're trying to change this, but right now the only people that are truly covered are active duty members and their children. They're trying to get this to where it will regulate or possibly regulate National Guard and Reserve soldiers. But for right now, it's just only active duty member families. So children of active duty members of the uniformed service, National Guard and Reserve, and I know I just said that, and then you say, well, National Guard and Reserve, if they're on active duty orders, if they're deployed or if they're on orders for greater than 60 days and then they go into an active status, then they also fall under the Compact Commission rules. Commissioned officers of the National Guard. Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, and the United States Public Health Service. And members of veterans who are medically discharged or retired for 1 year are eligible for assistance under the compact. The compact also covers students or members who perish on active duty for a period of 1 year following their death. So, with that being said, lastly, it says, MIC3 plays a vital role in ensuring that all active military families' children have a seamless transition from the last school attendant to their new school at their new duty station. Mr. Mellis, who helps me tremendously on this, without Robert, I'd be lost. I mean, Robert's, I always refer, just like everyone else here has someone that helps them. Robert's my guy, okay? I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. Without Robert, I'd be lost. So Mr. Mellis and I are a bridge between the local education department and service members. We help with any issues that may arise during the transition. Unfortunately, although West Virginia, I think I heard earlier, is the second largest, veteran group in all the states, but we don't have a large force of active duty soldiers stationed in West Virginia, meaning we don't have a lot of soldiers transitioning from active duty, and we just don't have hardly any military bases that active duty members come here a lot. So we don't have a lot of cases. But West Virginia has a small number of cases that need work each year. So I've been doing this job for 2 years, and we've only had, I think, 2 cases since I've been here. It is important for the military families to know that the State Board of Education, our educational leaders, superintendents are focused on supporting the National Guard and active duty service members and their children's needs during deployments. This is a burden taken off the families during these difficult times, and West Virginia is truly blessed to have the support. And I don't want to take a lot of time, but we are blessed here, and I do appreciate, how easy the couple cases that we've had, it was so easy to get resolved because, the state education office supported us, the local education office supported us, and I'll give you one small example so you kind of understand what we do, because I know I say all this stuff, but in reality, it's very simple. That all sounds good, but so if you're an active duty member, you're stationed, for instance, my last duty state house stationed in Fort Stewart, Oklahoma. Let's say I get transferred to Fort Stewart, Georgia. When I go to Fort Stewart and my kids go to school, if they're not going to go on if they go on a military base, which we all have schools, that's an easy transition. But if they decide to go, I want to live off post, and I want my child to attend a public school, they can do that. So, for instance, let's say when I was at Fort Sill, they had Oklahoma history, right? When they transitioned to Fort Stewart, Georgia, they already had their 4 credit hours of history while I was in Oklahoma. We come now to Fort Stewart, Georgia. They say, I know you had 4 hours of history at that location, but we want you to have 2 more hours of history because we think you need Georgia history. Now the family's like, listen, they've already had what they need. They're on track to graduate. You're adding additional classes. Why does my child have to have that additional class? So they'll call me, and then I'll go talk to the school, and we'll work it out amongst, and then every state sign this agreement, and we work it out, and usually it's very simple, and they say, okay, you're good, you met your criteria, we'll let you go, and the kids go to school, and everybody's happy. So just in a nutshell, that's pretty much what we do. So, but I do appreciate, would like to say, we truly appreciate all the support that we get from you guys, and it means the world to us. So if you have any questions, sir.
Any questions? Thank you.
No, thank you. Thanks, Robert.
Thank you, sir. And really, Mr. Lambruno, he deserves a lot of credit too, because he makes the process very seamless. And a big part of what we're doing with the Common Ground Partnership is because we all come from our different silos. We have education, we have the military, but sometimes, we communicate in a certain way, the military communicates in a certain way. So to have folks who understand both sides of that working together as a team is really helpful, especially when it comes to MIC3. So I want to introduce you to another one of my wonderful partners. And Dr. Ricky McCormick is from the Office of Veterans Education and Training at the West Virginia Higher Education Policy Commission. And she's here to explain how that trend that started with pre-K through 12 Purple Star is now expanding. And so, Dr. McCormick, I will just hand it off to you to make an announcement.
Hello. Thank you all for having us today, and so much thankfulness to Robert, not just for today, but over the years of collaboration that we have had with him. We are from the Office of Veterans Education and Training Programs housed at the West Virginia Policy Commission, and our job is to maintain approval and compliance for any post-secondary facility to utilize GI Bill benefits. This includes our colleges and universities, both public and private, what we call non-college degree programs, which is our career and technical centers, apprenticeships, on-the-job training programs, licensing and certification agencies, prep courses, and flight courses. And all of that falls under our jurisdiction to approve schools to allow them to utilize GI Bill benefits. When I came to the department in 2022, it was approached to me that this new Purple Star designation was just rolling out to our K-12 institutions, and how could we make this happen for our post-secondary institutions. That posed a conundrum for a little bit of time because in 2015 we had the Veterans Campus Friendly Act, which is a basically list of criteria for our public colleges and universities to maintain veteran campus friendly practices. And they were designated in 2015, if they had completed those things, as a 5-star challenge school. And those reports are given each year to the Legislative Education Committee. And so how can we make this different, applicable, and important to our facilities? It is correct. West Virginia has the second highest per capita veteran rate in the nation, second only to Washington, D.C. Our veterans come home. But when they come home, what post-secondary option are they going to choose? And will that place be military friendly? Several of our colleges do actually apply through what's called the military friendly designation, which is a private company, but it takes money for them to do so. And we wanted something that would be consistent and able to be acknowledged across all of our post-secondary options that then matched what we were doing in the K-12 setting. And so we are now excited to announce that we are ready to roll out on April 23rd, and coinciding with Purple Update, the Purple Star Facility designation that is going to allow any of our post-secondary schools or facilities to apply for this military-friendly designation that then is going to really partner and be seamless with our K-12 institutions. So one thing that we do want to say is between now and the 23rd, we have a challenge to get this word out, and it's called a Walk a Mile in Their Shoes Challenge. In front of the Team of the Unknown Soldier, they take 42 steps within each pass. And we did the math of what that would look like. How many miles are walked per year to guard the Team of the Unknown Soldier? It's around 3,280. And so we have a challenge between now and April 23rd with Purple Up Day, is if we can collectively walk a mile in their shoes, a collective amount of the 3,200 miles. And then we are going to open our applications up on April 23rd to allow our post-secondary options to be designated military friendly with our West Virginia Purple Star Facility designation. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So thank you, Dr. McCormick, for sharing how the post-secondary version of the Purple Star Award is going to help military-connected students move from their senior year of high school into the next phase of their educational careers with great confidence that the institutions that are preparing them will be military-friendly. So finally, I'd like to introduce you to another one of our outstanding partners and an advocate for veterans across the state. Mr. Johnny Ross is the West Virginia Army Reserve Ambassador, a retired lieutenant colonel, and the director of outreach for the West Virginia Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve, known as ESGR. I've invited him to join us today as our State Superintendent of Schools, Michelle Blatt, plans to sign an ESGR Statement of Support in honor of Purple Up Month. The Statement of Support symbolizes a commitment to assist employees serving in the United States Armed Forces whenever they're called to serve our state and nation and return to their employment at the West Virginia Department of Education. It's my hope that once school districts see Superintendent Blatt sign this statement, that it will create a new trend that districts may choose to follow by showing support for school staff who are serving in the military as they leave for deployments across the globe and rely upon USERRA law for easing and back into reemployment, because we have a lot of teachers who also serve in the Guard and Reserve in the state of West Virginia. So, Mr. Ross, if you'd like to say a few words, come right on up.
Good morning, honorable members of the board and guests. Certainly appreciate the opportunity to be here today. As Robert mentioned, I am active throughout the state of West Virginia. I've served 28 years in the military right here in this great state. So some of my opportunities after retirement from the military is taking on those voluntary roles with Employer Support, Guard and Reserve, and being the Army Reserve Ambassador for the state of West Virginia, where I work a lot with Robert and the educational opportunities that he has throughout, and places a lot of opportunity for students to understand and take a meaning part of. But just don't want to take any more of time, but I certainly appreciate the opportunity just to be here and to speak about the statement of support with our good Superintendent Michelle Blatt right there. One thing the statement of support does, it's a first level display of folks to see when they walk into your offices. And it means a lot because when military veterans show up and they can see that statement of support, they know right away somebody on the facility is a recognized veteran location, or there's military members that work in that facility. So we certainly appreciate that opportunity to do so. Thank you, and if there's any questions, sir?
Any questions? Thank you very much.
We'll
We'll
do
get
now is we'll just ask
Superintendent
Superintendent
Blatt
Blatt
to
to
sign
join
away.
Mr. Ross for the signing. If you'd like to come up. Right. Thank you so much, Superintendent Blatt. So what I'd like to do is before we have a group photo with everyone here, the board members, state superintendent, chancellor, and all of my guests here today for a photo, I'll just ask, are there any questions about anything that we're doing with the partnership? Any comments? Well, I'll just mention that if anyone has questions about the Common Ground Partnership, there are a lot of things I didn't go over in terms of we have things that are going to impact agriculture, STEM, aerospace education, loads and loads of things we're involved in. So we do have just some light refreshments across the hallway after the meeting if you'd like to learn more. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
I thought you think you were going to take a picture.
I know you like the fact that I like
Come on, Victor.
All right, where are we at next?
Go on to executive session. Okay, next on our agenda is discussion of legal matters. Is there a motion to move into executive session?
I move that we enter into executive session under the attorney-client privilege exception authorization by West Virginia Code 69A3 for discussion of items C on the agenda.
You've heard the motion by Mr. Gabriel. Is there a second? It's been seconded by Ms. Justice. All in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're in executive session at 10:49.
Test, test. Test, test.
7:25 a.m. No action was taken. Next on our agenda, West Virginia Board of Education Personnel Matters. Is there a motion to approve the West Virginia Board of Education personnel?
So move.
Been moved by Mr. Gabriel. Second, Mr. Roadtruck. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is Department of Education Personnel Matters. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Mr. Dunleavy.
Second.
Second, Mr. Paul. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next is delegations, and for those brave souls that stood around with us today, I appreciate your willingness to stay. Miss Day, the floor is yours.
Hello. Good day, board members. We do have 4 delegations today. Our first is Seth DeStefano with the West Virginia Center on Budget and Policy to speak on child labor law rollbacks and the WVBE. Each person has 3 minutes.
Correct. Good morning, sir.
How's that? Yes. Thank you, Superintendent Blatt. My name is Seth DeStefano. I'm the Senior Policy Outreach Director for the West Virginia Center on Budget and Policy and a proud graduate of Tigers Valley High School, class of 1997. As our lobbyist with the Center on Budget and Policy, full disclosure, that's a big part of what I do. I work on a myriad of issues, and unfortunately, over the last couple of years, rollbacks to state child labor laws has been one of those issues, and that's why I come to you today. I am encouraging you to take a personal interest in the passage of House Bill 4005, which basically piggybacks on legislation passed in 2024 called the Youth Apprenticeship Program. So in 2024, there was a bill passed, House Bill 5162, that created a quote-unquote youth apprenticeship program that opened up or loosened some areas of child labor law regarding certain things for 16 and 17-year-old kids. This year, the rollbacks got a little bit more serious in that specific provisions in state code that mandate direct supervision when kids are working around what are considered hazardous machinery were taken out. The state code of that was taken out. We were on the front lines of this bill, and one of the justifications used to pass this bill was that we simply aren't doing enough when it comes to career and technical education. We aren't doing enough in West Virginia when it comes to apprenticeships. So like any good government affairs representative, I looked into that. I wanted to put it to the test, and I'm here to tell you that excuse is nonsense. The West Virginia State Board of Education and public education in general does a fantastic job providing career and technical education opportunities to kids who want them in West Virginia. And you guys do so without sacrificing labor protections and potentially putting kids in jeopardy. In fact, there are so many career and technical education opportunities available through public schools that one whole day at the legislature isn't enough to showcase them all. What I'm talking about here is that CTE Day at the legislature, you will find kids from all over the state taking up every single available space they can at the state capitol, everything from robotics to unmanned drone instruction to my favorite, the culinary arts, right? I do enjoy when those kids come down to the capitol. And still, schools have to come down on separate days throughout the 2-month session to showcase what they're doing. And so, I have real concerns as to how this quote-unquote youth apprenticeship program could be used in the future. It won't become effective until June 8th. My ask of the state board is to take credit for the higher standards that you have for career and technical education right now. Just because the legislature sent you a lower standard for these types of things, I don't think that means you have to embrace it. I think you can keep doing the good work you have been doing for these kids and make sure they are safe and ready to enter the workforce when they turn 18. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Our next delegation is Janet Bedling with Stand for Kids on the topic of vaccines.
Well, thank you, board members, for serving. I know it's hard work, so I appreciate it. I'm here because vaccine programs are very important to me for two personal reasons. One is that I was in the 1954 clinical trial of the Salk vaccine in Fairfax County, Virginia, and my parents and a whole lot of other parents, I'm sure, were concerned about a clinical trial because we don't know exactly what the outcome will be. And perhaps it might be bad for kids. But the polio epidemic was so bad and parents were so scared that hundreds, if not thousands of parents signed off so that their kids could get the vaccine. And I'm so grateful that my parents chose to allow me to be vaccinated. And my other reason for feeling strongly about vaccines is that shortly after the Salk vaccine was made legal and was widely distributed, my cousin, who was a young married woman with 2 small children, died of polio very suddenly. And young adults were not like the primary pool for polio vaccine transmission. It was children. But we don't think of children as disease vectors, but she got polio from somebody, and it was probably the neighborhood kids. So I just thank you for protecting West Virginia's children. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
And our next delegation is Susan Perry with Stand for Kids to speak on the topic of vaccines.
Thank you, Mr. President, Superintendent. I'm Susan Perry. I'm a lifelong resident of Logan County. I'm an attorney. I'm also a commissioned pastor in the Presbyterian Church, and I'm here to talk about vaccines and to thank this board for taking such a strong position on enforcing the vaccine mandate in this state. When I was the Deputy Secretary of DHHR here in West Virginia, one of my jobs was to defend the vaccine mandate here in West Virginia, and I did it proudly. And I did it to honor my family because, like Janet, I had a cousin who contracted polio before there was a polio vaccine. And my cousin fortunately lived, but spent quite a number of months in an iron lung. Before there was a measles vaccine, I contracted measles. And my body fought off measles very hard. I ended up being out of school for quite a while with that. And then within a week of the time that I went back to school, my weakened body ended up with scarlet fever. And I have lifelong kidney problems because of the scarlet fever. Now, we heard all these schools being honored here today because of attendance and excellence in attendance. And we can't expect excellence in attendance from our students or from our staff if they're not healthy. And in order to be healthy in today's world, we have to enforce West Virginia's vaccine mandate. So I thank you for your time and for your support.
Thank you, ma'am.
And our final delegation is Mickey Blackwell with the West Virginia Principals Association.
Two of these speakers didn't even use up all their time, so it seems like I should have quite. You knew that was coming, right? I'd just like to say hello to all and remind you that April is testing month and that everybody is in a foxhole right now, making sure that their kids are in attendance and are focused and doing what they need to do. As I often ask, please visit a school. Just tell everyone what a good job they're doing. Let them know who you are. And they would be thrilled just to have your presence in there. Eat a hot roll, get some chocolate milk, walk back out of there, but just pat everybody on the back and help them during this time because it's a challenging time. Someone stole my thunder because she's exactly right. If we want attendance to be high, we want to make sure that our kids are healthy. And if we're not supporting vaccinations, then we're supporting poor health choices. And it's very important that we do that. And that was a great thought. And I just want to say thank you to those folks. Real quickly, I want to say just that when we had those principals up here today, everything that you heard today, you say, man, that's a great school and that's a great principal. And that's what it takes for a great school. Every teacher in their classroom has an effect on the kids that they have. But every great principal has an effect on the entire building, the community, and the schools that they go to. And so we need to make sure that we are supporting our leaders. And I just thought, why don't we have 2 or 3 of these folks up here every time we have a board meeting? The more you hear good things, the more people know that good things are out there. And there are many great leaders, there are many great schools, there are many great communities, and most importantly, there are many great, great students out there. And they need to be something that we focus on time and time again. Because if we don't control the message of what a good job we're doing, and what great leaders we have, and what great staff we have, most importantly, what great kids we have, we're letting someone else control the narrative. And that's not acceptable. And that's when you start having the problems like that we have across the road. So I just want to say that there's plenty of principals out there. We need to embrace them. There's assistant principals, there's counselors, there's cooks, there's bus drivers, there's teachers, and we just need to say great job to all those folks. I want to finish up real quickly by talking about STEM and DEI for 36 seconds or longer. Artemis 2 is out right now, the NASA space shot. It's a wonderful thing. There can be no greater opportunity for STEM this week. I heard the teacher talking about how they did the Olympics and the kids were carrying the torch. Imagine what you can do with STEM this week. Artemis is named after a Greek goddess who protected children. If you don't know that, then you didn't get your mythology studies in 7th and 8th grade. But that is a really important thing. And that crew that is in the air, 1 woman, 1 African American, 2 white guys, they are a perfect example of diversity, equality, and inclusion. And we should be doing everything that we can do. I want to circle right back to where we talked about culture and we talked about collaboration of our great leaders. We need to be supporting all of our kids, and we need to be supporting DEI in the future because we have many, many, many diverse schools with diverse leaders and diverse communities, and we can't let the narrative slip away from us. Thank you all.
Thank you.
There are no
Thank you, Ms.
delegations. Thank you.
Next is board member updates and requests for information. We'll start with Dr. Paul.
Thank you, President Hardesty. 2 quick things to mention on my end. First, I wanted to just note that I was very pleased to be in Berkeley County at the end of March to participate in the groundbreaking ceremony at Inwood Early Learning Center. Obviously, we know Berkeley is an area with a lot of student growth. With that comes facility needs, and this is good. I mean, we want to see counties with more people in them and more students in them, and I just wanted to note that I was pleased to meet some of the local dignitaries there, and it was a good day to be in Inwood. And then secondly, a request for information from Superintendent Blatt and her staff. I suspect that special education and funding for special education is going to be a priority for the legislature in the not too distant future. It already is for many members, and I know this is a topic of discussion. And as part of that, what I'd like Superintendent Blatt and your team to work on is an analysis of our special education policy, our rules, 2419. And what I'd like to see is how much of those rules are grounded directly in federal IDEA statute, and where might 2419 exceed the federal requirements, and what are those areas where there's a distinction basically between the federal statute and the state policy. And I think that can begin for us to be prepared to think about what might need to happen from a rulemaking perspective to assist with some of our special education challenges in the state. I think that's something that's going to be important to do if we're looking at the legislature to change things or appropriate more money. We should also be looking at 2419, and I think the first step would be some information about how that policy compares to federal law. So that's my request for you this month.
Mr. Rowe Truck.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. President. I just report that last Wednesday we had the Focus Forward Conference in Morgantown. Benedum was a major sponsor, and the PC helped put it together. And I'll let the Superintendent Blatt say a few things about it because she was a great speaker on the first panel. But there were 700 people registered to come, and the theme was Mind the Machines. It's all about the age of AI and human robotics and so on. Michelle.
Yeah, it was a great event, and we learned a lot, not only from the keynotes and things that were there and the people that were brought in from the group that works on the Focus Forward, but also from a lot of the students at West Virginia University. They shared a lot of insight into how they use AI, what they still want to learn about it, and how we can all work together as we start thinking about these fast-moving changes that are coming around with AI.
Ms. White.
Yes, sir. Thank you, but I don't have anything to add today.
Okay. Chancellor Tucker.
Actually, I don't usually, but I'll be brief. We had what I'm calling an omnibus financial aid bill pass this legislative session. It was the product of about a year and a half of work by my staff. We worked with the counselors at our high schools. We talked to high school students. We talked to college students. We talked to financial aid directors. We talked to admissions officers. We talked to all of the people and said, tell us what makes financial aid hard in this state. Our legislature has been incredibly gracious with the number of financial aid programs we have. We have 16 different state financial aid programs that run through my office, and each of them were created at different points in time with different people, and they have 16 different sets of rules and 16 different sets of regulations. And when you're trying to get a first-generation college goer to understand what options are available to them, 16 different sets of rules is not exactly user-friendly. So we sort of took a holistic look at all of those and proposed some very significant changes that the legislature passed with only one no vote in both the House and Senate. So we're really proud of that legislation. We're going to be working with the counselors this year to help them understand some of the changes that were made. But an example for you all is that the Promise Scholarship required us to look at a student's GPA and a student's core GPA. So the only thing that I can tell that a core GPA is used for in the state of West Virginia or federally is the Promise Scholarship. There's no other point in time when anybody measures a core GPA. So as a student is going through his or her career in high school and seeing their transcript and seeing their GPA, they think, oh, well, great, I'm going to qualify for the Promise Scholarship, only at the end for us to require all the counselors in the state to do a separate calculation for a core GPA and find out, oh shoot, my core GPA is just a little bit too low. I was banking on the scholarship, now I don't get it. So we eliminated the core GPA part of the Promise Scholarship. So we did a number of things like that across our financial aid programs. We combined several financial aid programs just so it's easier for our students to understand. So we'll be working with your counselors and with K-12 students over the course of the next several years to implement all those changes and roll that out. The other thing I wanted to say is a big shout out to the state of West Virginia. We are currently ranked number 9th in FAFSA completion in the country, and we do not have universal FAFSA completion. So universal FAFSA completion is that a state would require high school students to complete a FAFSA, which is the free financial aid form that lets students know how much money they can get to go to college. 12 states in this country have a FAFSA mandate. The other, I believe all 8 of the states that are ahead of us have universal FAFSA completion in their states. But we are ranked 9th because we are scrappy and because we work hard. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody who has helped with FAFSA completion because it's a big accomplishment.
Ms. Justice.
think this
Sure.
isn't educational or anything, but at the state women's basketball tournament, two southern counties in West Virginia were state champions, Monroe County and Greenbrier County. And I just want, if you all are around athletics, it's really fun. The kids have great camaraderie among themselves. The communities are so supportive. It just creates an atmosphere that you want to be around. It entices kids that are on borderlines of being graded eligible to come and play, and they have to, maintain a certain grade average. And it's just a whole great atmosphere that is really fun to be around, and it was really good, and we were proud to be a part of it. Thank you all.
Mr. Dunleavy.
I had the pleasure of being at the SSSC yearly meeting, which we just finished up in Stonewall. It's really something to see every athletic director in the state of West Virginia and the principals of each school membership attend and also discuss rules changes they'd like to see happen. Now, none of them get done, but there's a lot of big discussion because there's reasons why you don't get some of them done. But anyways, the transfer rule went through for our favor. So it was a great meeting, and it was a pleasure to be there representing. Thank you.
Mr. Gabriel.
I have nothing, sir.
And nothing from the chair. Next meeting of this board will be May 13, 2026, here in Charleston, West Virginia. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
That moved, Mr. Gabriel. Second, Mr. Dunleavy. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're
Aye.
adjourned.
Good to see you all today. Thank you.